Other medical professionals who are on the front lines combating.
Hey guys, this is Matt for Creative. We're watching now the let's see, this is from this is from Now This. They're currently live streaming the debate, basically, between the Republicans and Democrats about getting a individual stimulus package passed. So let's see what the rundown is. The Democrats reject Senate GOP bailout bill. Senators are expected to speak after a GOP economic stimulus bill failed a first key vote. Now, one of the key things that the Democrats are voting against is only 3 months of unemployment help. And if you're thinking about anything, you're trying to get something concrete and stamped out. This doesn't have to be something that's indefinite. In fact, because you're trying to get this together so quickly, 3 months is perfectly fine. We know that this is going to go longer than that. The effects of this will be felt longer than this. If that's one of the sticking points that the Democrats are trying to negate this bill, or to not even vote on it, this is, I think, an incorrect way about doing this. Now, I know the amount in total is not good enough. I believe it's been quoted as $100 billion when people are looking for about, I know it's a huge number, $1 trillion in different facets of, maybe a check to people, unemployment, and just other things, but this needs to be stamped out now. And what you can hear from these people going back and forth is literally they're like, oh, we have to do this all together. I'm willing to work with you if you're willing to work with me. And it's literally both of them talking about the exact same thing. It's annoying to hear. It's just something that doesn't work. It's something that I used to be in politics. I used to want to be more in politics in different facets. The baggage that you have when you are a politician is really hard to get over. It's something that is much harder than the average person may think about. I don't know how to word it. Getting things done is so much harder than you would think. You have constituents, you have people who rely upon you outside of that, donors, you have people who actually you are indebted to. But regardless, these talking points over the last few years are, and for maybe even longer than that, are just people saying the same thing, one side and the other, making each other look bad, and literally not working together because they have so many things that they have to worry about. Personally, for their re-election, for their current term in office, it's hampering anything progressive. Let's read a little bit more because I wanted to actually be quiet for a little bit and listen, but it was just back and forth. Literally, I was listening to a Democratic senator and now a Republican senator, and they're going back and forth saying, we want to get this done in the next 48 hours. Then the Republican senator said, oh, 48 hours is way too long, let's get it done in 24 hours. Or I believe it may have been vice versa. But it's just talking points, and all it is, it's people can't wait this long. Something quick needs to be done. Sometimes you don't have the chance to do all the research in the world, at least to get something preliminary in place that would help people now. It would be concrete now that you could go over and say, okay, this helps us for what? The next 3 months? For $100 billion in certain ways that's going to be diverted to people? It just needs to be done. I know it's way too easy saying this rather than being in their shoes and actually getting things done. This is literally somebody, myself, this is literally somebody who's commenting on people who are actually working, who are actually playing the political game and trying to get things done. But as a viewer, it's gross and it's ugly, and it's something that continually happens where nothing gets done. And maybe that's what people want, to be normally, for things just to stay the same. But in something like this, where something actually needs to get done, this bickering, this back and forth, we need something. And yes, we do need it within 24 hours. We need it within 48 hours. We need this now. So let me read more of the description on this video. Earlier, Speaker Pelosi announced that Democrats oppose the GOP bill and the House is drafting its own. Dems say the Republican legislation increases the corporate bailout fund to $500 billion, not including airlines. Now, if you've heard anything that I've been saying, I do believe that the economy, the system, bailing out of companies is something that does have to be done, because if you bail out the companies, well, actually, here, I'll tell you like this. If you focus on the companies, only bailing them out, and not focusing on the individuals, then that's a failure. If you do all the individuals and not the corporations, that is also a failure too. And it is, you just have to address both things. Whether you're a Republican or Democrat, whether you're for big businesses or you're for the individuals in this country, you have to address both. You cannot overlook either, because a person needs to work someplace, and there are large corporations for them to work in. There are small businesses as well, but to be a nation as large as we are, there have to be large corporations too that are functional. And when something like this catches people off guard, whether they knew about it or not, ahead of time, you need to address both sides. Alright, let's continue this. $500 billion, not including airlines, and gives the Trump administration complete discretion on how it's used. Companies that receive bailout money could be kept secret for up to 6 months, but then after 6 months, that would have to be addressed. Dems also say the GOP allows bailed out corporations to fire their workers and to increase executive salaries just after 2 years. So, if you think about the corporations as a whole, if you think about people working up to getting to a position, sorry, the TV is just doing its thing here. If you see people trying to work up into a position of power, it has been my belief, and maybe it's something that I only see or a limited number of people see, but you have to have something to work for. And that would be, in this case, a world that does rely on money in general. You have to work for the position, the power, and the money. Money is a large facet because it is something that really runs the world, whether you like to think about it or not. So if you are at a head of a corporation, it's something to work towards. Now, there have been a lot of cases where heads of corporations have gotten too much, and the people working in those corporations, the everyday workers who don't get giant bonuses or payouts or anything like this, they don't get enough. But just as a simple idea for me, you do have to have something to work for, and that's a large paycheck in this case. But also, again, you do have to make sure that these workers are paid, because they're actually the ones doing the work through the idea of the corporation head, through the ideas and business mindsets that they have to actually formulate a plan on how to get their corporation up and to benefit, I guess, themselves at the head, the corporation in general, and the individual workers, because without the corporation, the workers would not have a place to work. I mean, I can definitely see a few things in this GOP draft that I am not a big fan of. And this money definitely does come from somewhere. It's going to be coming out of the taxpayers' pockets. But if I had to look at this right now and say that this is what we have to work with right now, and if this does go to individuals, either as a stimulus check or unemployment or anything, any way that you would word it, as long as this goes to individuals as well as the corporations, then this is something that needs to get done. And if this is a 3-month plan and that can be revisited later, or given the chance to work on it and maybe amend what has been passed and then do a more solid and thought out plan down the line, then do that down the line.
This phase 3 package provides direct payments.
Yeah, if you watch something like C-SPAN or anything like this, or maybe what I'm watching right now, you're going to see people talking back and forth, basically saying the same thing but from two different positions. It's tiresome. Again, the baggage on politicians is way too much for them to actually get things done. Whether that be their fault or not their fault, or maybe the system's fault of politics in America as well as other countries. This just has to be done. These are just my thoughts. Alright guys, if you want to begin a dialogue or have any questions, put it in the comment section below here. If you want to find me, I'm on Instagram at m8b9, and you can email me at matt8b9@gmail.com. I will be going through and doing many different types of videos. Normally this is a channel that reviews products, but I've been delving into news and politics and updating people about the coronavirus because I live in New Jersey, about 5 minutes away from New York City, so this is a very relevant topic to me. But thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.